In the next group of videos, I'm going to show you how to apply this cube drawing principle to actual cube-like objects. We're going to create rough drawings of the four objects that you see here. Two different views of the stapler, one of this chair, and one of this car. So what's important to keep in mind as you're drawing your cubes into cube-like objects is consistency of angles. You can see in this drawing here, I've drawn some lines that run parallel to the left edges, the edges on the left side of this stapler, and you can see how they're all fairly parallel. Sometimes they might converge or go towards one another because of perspective. If I was to continue this, you would see how these lines would eventually move towards one another, and especially on larger objects like this car. You can see if I put a pencil along the bottom of this car and one along the hood, how those converge. Okay, the effects of perspective, or things getting smaller as they get further away, shown by lines converging or lines going towards one another, is more evident in larger objects, and sometimes with smaller objects if you get your camera up close, because it can distort the perspective a little bit. So you see that kind of going on. The perspective, the strength of the perspective or the visibility of it is more evident in this one where the camera was a little bit closer. So let's start to draw this. First thing you're going to do, let's divide up our paper into 4 rectangles. Let's divide our paper in half vertically first. Again, take a loose grip, make sure your eraser is inside your palm. Broad strokes, we're drawing loose, we're drawing large, practicing that always. And then divide your paper in half horizontally, dividing it up into 4 rectangles. And in the first rectangle, top left rectangle, we will draw what we see here, this stapler. Now, we're not going to draw all the details. We just want to, for now at least, we just want to get a likeness of it in a very rough sketch, quick sketch, get its proportions right, get the angles right. The first 2 lines that are the most important with cube drawing are the bottom 2 lines. The first line on the bottom of the stapler going this way, and this one going this way. Okay, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do first. You can see again, I'm drawing light, drawing loose, drawing large, drawing and redrawing. So I'm going to get this line. Okay, you can even use your pencil and kind of compare it when you're working either off of your computer screen or from a photo, as I am. Of course, you guys are all working off a computer screen this year. My angle's a little bit off, so I'm going to adjust that a little bit. Okay. So then basically we have cubes stacked on top of cubes. We have a large flat cube for the base of this stapler. Then you have another cube for the upper part of it. In fact, you have one cube with inside of another cube. And again, I'm not too worried about the details. I just want to get the proportions and get the angles right for this. Okay. And I don't care if you change your grip a little bit, because we are drawing kind of small. And it's a little bit harder to hold your pencil like this with some control when you're drawing real small. And I'm going to send this line back, even though I can't really see it. It's going to help guide. And then when I start to draw the upper cube, I have to kind of look at the spacing right here. Judge the spacing. How far back from the front edge does this part of the stapler begin? And I'll draw this kind of going back like this. This going back here. And then I am going to go upwards here, come back, trying to keep these lines consistent. This part actually ends about right here before it goes off the edge. And then you have the upper part kind of over, I don't know how well you can see that, overhangs that a little bit. Okay, this corner will come up. I'm looking at this shape, the proportions of that shape, creating that cube there. And then back here, because this all sort of disappears behind this wall where it's hinged, I'm going to draw that in place. then I'm going to bring this back, and this sort of slopes down because it curves down, and I'm just going to curve that down and in, bring this down. Now this is, you see how this is, because this curves, it's hard to see this back edge. That's why I drew this line here. You won't have it in your photograph that's on the computer. But just to kind of help guide my line, I'm going to draw sort of a guideline like that. So then when I draw this back, this is going to kind of tuck down in there. Now my angle's off a little bit. I don't think I'm quite accurate. I didn't get my lines, but that's okay. I'm trying to show you the rough idea of this. This is practice, and that's how you take and you apply the cube drawing principle. And then again, from here, you would, you've drawn it light, so now you can begin to draw over it, and we're not going to get into all that detail, but I could come in here and I could do more of the detail of this stapler, kind of the angles of it as it kind of goes in and out here. Divide up the space. Curve it as needed. It kind of notches here, kind of goes in, and then kind of goes this way, and kind of curves like that. But I'm not, at this stage for what we're doing now, I'm not concerned about all of that. I just wanted to give you the rough overview, and I want us to just do rough sketches of everything that you see before you here.